Check us out to hear the latest on life in the volunteer state. Yvonnca and her guests discuss everything from life, love, and business with a Tennessee flair.
It's a Tennessee thing.
Always relatable, always relevant, and always a good time. This is Talking Tennessee, and now your host, Yvonnca.
This episode is brought to you by Turning Knox Rental, your go-to for event rental services. We have selfie machines, 360 photo machines, and food servicing machines that you can rent out to give your parties the best experience possible. Get the TKR experience with Turning Knox Rental. You can find us at www.turningknoxrental.com.
Welcome back to Talking Tennessee with Yvonnca. I am your host, and I'm in the studio with Mayor Jacobs, and I brought him back for a second episode because this is a powerful episode, and I just really want y'all to know his opinion. I'd like to know, what is your opinion on the inflation and our economic relief? Where do you see Knox County to be on the horizon? What do you think?
So inflation will most likely continue. It is a policy choice. Okay, it's all due to monetary policy and fiscal policy of the federal government. And really, when they print all this money and then you don't have a concomitant increase in productivity, you have more money than you have goods and services, and then the prices ends up going up. And that's been going on for a long time in Washington. And it's really been a bipartisan effort as well, unfortunately. So until spending at a federal level is under control, which there doesn't seem to be much of an appetite for that, this will continue. Again, the country has almost $35 trillion in debt. We have a huge amount of unfunded liabilities with Social Security and Medicare. So those are some huge issues that we have no control over here in Knox County. What we need to do is ensure that we are as business friendly as possible, that we keep our local taxes low, that we do things that don't add to the burden. One of our big issues has been housing prices, and just not even really housing, it's the cost of shelter and how that has gone through the roof. And a lot of that is due to things that we can do something about with our zoning regulations and our land use regulations that really constrain supply, and we're working on those. But ultimately, what we have to do is we have to be as business friendly as possible so that we can keep on growing our economy. Unfortunately, overall, inflation acts as a drag on the economy. I mean, it's very painful for me to watch folks that are just barely making it. Yes. And then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but you add to that the fact that the price of gasoline has gone up so much, the price of childcare has gone up so much, food, shelter, everything. And that's like, if you look at our homelessness problem, that's part of the reason, is because frankly, people that are kind of on the margins, just can't make it anymore, which is incredibly sad to me. A lot of our homeless folks, you have a stigma around homelessness. These are people that just are lazy and don't care, blah, blah, blah. Right. A lot of these folks are working poor, and they're living in their car, but they're still holding a job. And to me, that's the ultimate tragedy, is people that are trying to help themselves, people that are doing the right thing. Getting up every day, going to work, and they're just having all these problems. Again, what we can do locally is try to ensure that our economic environment here is conducive to growth and to people having successful careers and good jobs.
Well, I say the housing market, the more and more you see more and more families having to move in together. You're seeing more families having to give up their space, because everything is expensive. What do you envision in the next year in our housing? I
think things should get a little better when we're talking about the increased cost of housing. We have a lot of units coming online now. Folks point to, oh my gosh, we have all this growth. But the thing is, if you look at the housing permits that were issued from like the previous 10 years, from say 2002 to 2012 or so, right, there are actually twice as many of those issued as there has been from the immediate past 10 years, which means that our overall units are actually like about 18,000 units lower than they should be to begin with. Then, of course, we have people moving here, so that causes even more upward pressure on prices. So there's a lot of projects coming online, and it is multifamily stuff, you know. But frankly, that's the least expensive. So we have to have housing at every strata. Okay, not only from the expensive stuff, but all the way down to starting housing, and then also multifamily, meaning apartment, condo, townhouse.
I was just about to touch on that, because a lot of people will say, well, Yvonnca, you're a realtor, and how do you say, you do understand about apartments? I said, because I said, yes, I would love to sell everybody a house. Yeah. I said, but to really, really think about it is that, okay, people have to have somewhere to live before they can buy a house.
That's right.
And so
they also have to have someplace to live where they can save enough money for a down payment on a house.
Correct. So I'm like, so are you saying Knox County should not have apartments come in, and we have more homeless people because the people can't have the down payment, the closing costs, and all that? I'm like, so it has to be, a starting point, and then of course the ultimate goal is the American dream. Owning a house. I want everybody to own a house. But we have to realize is that there's steps in it. Yeah. And everything that we do in our life, there's steps in it. Even when you go to buy a car, you don't go buy the most expensive car out there or your dream car. There's steps to it. Savings accounts, you have to build those up. Investments, you have to build those up. So there's steps to everything. So in the next year, you think, in your opinion, it will get better?
Yeah, just the data shows. I'm not saying it's going to get better as far as the baseline's higher now, right? Mm-hmm. But the increase of housing costs should flatten, hopefully, going forward.
So if you could snap your fingers.
Here we go.
If you could snap your fingers and say, I would love a certain thing to change in the next year. Like in our community. It may not be in housing. It may be. Is there any certain thing that if you had the magic wand that you'd say, I want this to change? Is there anything?
Yeah, the addiction issue, the drug issue. If I could snap my magic wand, snap my fingers, wave my magic wand and make it go away, I would do that. That's a driver for crime. It's a driver for homelessness. All of these negative outcomes that we see, a lot of it is due to that. And as a direct consequence, we still have a lot of people dying from overdoses and those sort of things. About across the state of Tennessee, about 1% of the workforce is out of work because of addiction issues. We see help wanted signs everywhere.
Yes.
So I'm not sure exactly what that number is, but it's tens of thousands of people that should be working that aren't. Mm-hmm. Every business person that I talk to, their number one issue is finding people to work, right?
I agree.
Well, 1% are just off the table. Yes. So if I could wave my magic wand, I would make all that go away.
So is there any certain programs that you see that is going to be executed in the next year that will help that?
We're doing things.
Yes.
I'm really happy.
Do we need more with facilities?
This is an issue of the heart and the spirit. And unfortunately, it's not something that government can solve. I've never believed that. We've activated the churches.
Yes.
Well, I shouldn't say we. We talk to the churches, and then they're helping. But we have more program where we're doing all the things. But it's just one of those things that government can't regulate morality. Mm-hmm. We can't fill spiritual holes in people's lives, and I think that's where a lot of this comes from. So ultimately, it's the family, it's the community, it's the churches that are really going to have to help with this.
Is there anything when you're traveling? Let's talk about when you travel. Is there anything that you see in other communities, other states, or other cities that you say, I want to, I wish that we had? Is there anything?
Yes.
That you could say?
Yeah, there is actually, and I think we're getting there. For a long time, Knox County in East Tennessee was sort of known for turf wars and turf battles. And this is the University of Tennessee, this is our thing. And the county's over here, and the city's over here, and TVA's over here, and the business community's over here. The most successful communities are those that can get everybody rowing in the right direction and can get everybody on the same page and working together.
Our community uniting more.
Exactly.
Is what you're saying.
And we're seeing that, which is a really good thing. There's just been leadership changes all over the place.
Yes.
And that has really helped. One of the books that's been really influential on me is called The Next American City. It's by Mick Cornett, who is former mayor of Oklahoma City. Back in the 1990s, Oklahoma City was not a nice place. Frankly, it was a dump. I was there. And now it's a world-class city. And what they were able to do, it's called The Next American City.
Okay.
What they were able to do is exactly that. They were able to just get all the different sectors of the community, the government, the private sector, the philanthropic sector, the institutions, everybody started moving in the same direction. And when they did that, they transformed their city, their way of life. And again, they went from being a place where no one wanted to live to like one of the top cities in the world now. So it's doable and it's necessary. I think we have tremendous potential here, but the only way to unlock that potential is if all of us kind of start going at least in certain areas, if we can all start working towards the same goal. And we are doing that. Again, we look at our schools and what they're doing. That's aligning with the University of Tennessee's doing. That's aligning with what the Chamber is doing with their economic development workforce efforts. So a lot of these things are happening. And
so how does a resident of Knox County and city, how do they need to get involved in local government? What would be your suggestion to help bridge that gap and get people more involved in local government?
I think the first thing is, as you said earlier, is to understand the issues and understand how much local government impacts us.
It does.
And everybody's going to vote in this presidential election.
Oh, everybody.
But what'll happen is we actually have a county election in August.
Yes.
And we will not see nearly as many people vote in that election as we will the presidential election. And that's just the way things are. And that's unfortunate. And I think that would be the most important thing, is to have people understand the issues and, to get involved in that way. And then also just with whatever organizations you belong to, what you do, I think is great and is an example for what other people could be doing it. And there's a lot of folks doing a lot of good stuff out there. There really is.
I'm gonna be in my community, because you can't say you want a great community if you're not in your community trying to, for one, do charitable things. For two, if you're an entrepreneur, you need to bring your business and bring it well.
The best thing that
and
someone can
example
do is, to me, is build a business, create jobs. That's it.
I open the company. You don't have to go. I'll turn to Knox Rental. I'm bringing jobs.
But that's awesome.
To a lot of young people. And believe it or not, a lot of people said to me, Yvonnca, you're in real estate. You've been in real estate for so long. Why are you wanting to do an entertainment company? And I said, because I don't just sell real estate. I like to give an experience. I like to give a moment to people. And what better way is to entertain and give them a memory that they can take long lasting. And so some people really got it, and then some people was like, you're a realtor, why are you doing it? But now it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
And it goes hand in hand. Even when I'm out with Turner Knox and all that kind of stuff, people will be like, first family real estate, because they know me in real estate. So it's like those things go hand in hand, but you can't just pigeonhole people to do one thing. Even the Bible says you should do several streams of income. I do think that if we're building our community and you have a talent, go out there, and see if it works. If it doesn't work, at least you can say you tried. But okay, so one of my sayings is get off the couch and do something. That is one of my taglines. Get off the couch and do something. I mean, come on now.
And also, everyone needs to understand that very few people are going to be able to change the world. Okay?
True.
But what you can do is you can change your little corner of the world. And if more people did that, then the world changes.
Yes.
So
and if
don't
more
worry
people focused on not what other people's difference is,
but what they're doing.
what your difference is and how you can make a difference in your community. Because I know with a shadow of a doubt that if this community wouldn't have came together for me when David got sick, for all the meals, all the prayers, the blood drives, and the list keeps going on. If East Tennessee would not have came together for the Landes family, I know that we would be a totally different family. I know that. And so where do I go from that? Is, okay, so this community did all this for me. It doesn't stop there. I got to give back to that same community that did it for me to help the next family, because crisis is going to come. What are we going to do about it, and how are we going to make a difference in someone's life? And I just think that people just have to realize that there's more to life than just arguing about politics. I mean, it's more in your local governments. You have to support those elections. Come out in August and vote and make a difference. And I would love for you to, a lot of people say their vote doesn't make a difference. Now, I need you to say why it makes a difference.
So I had never been in politics,
Okay.
and I decided I was going to run for mayor, and worked really hard, had a lot of people helping me. They worked really hard. Then we're heavily Republican county, so whoever won the Republican primary was probably going to win the whole thing. In 2018, in that Republican primary, 40,558 people voted. Okay? I won by 23 votes out of 40,558. So I am living proof that every vote counts, because literally if
23 votes.
Yeah, if 12 people had voted the other way, or if 23 people hadn't voted for me.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm a big believer in that every vote does count.
23 votes got him in office. So when you say your vote doesn't matter, it does.
And in these local elections, you're not talking about millions of votes. You know, you're talking.
That's true.
You're talking thousands.
Yes.
You know, you can in the city of Knoxville, you can be on you can be on city council. You know, there are 3,000 votes in some cases.
Yes.
You know, so.
But I think people think it's more votes. They're looking at the presidential election. I'm
they're thinking, millions and millions
it's
of
not
votes.
that.
Right.
And you got to know your city. It's not millions in your
No, it's
city. You know, that kind of thing.
It's thousands.
Yeah.
So you do have, that vote is much bigger in the local elections than it ever would be for president.
So as I end this podcast, I have one last question, and before I ask that question, I want to thank you for coming in, being open and honest, and answering the questions that I've asked, and just, telling who you are. So what's next for Glenn Jacobs? Personally and in politics, what's next?
I don't really know. I've never had a plan in my life, and by that I mean that every time I'm like, I'm going to do this, and this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen. Life throws something in there, and my plan goes awry.
So are you still trying to figure it out? I
am, actually.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in Mike Tyson saying that everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the mouth, because I've got punched in the mouth a lot. We all have.
Yes.
So,
definitely.
Yeah, for me...
you probably got more punches than we did.
More actual punches, maybe, but not what life throws at you. So I don't know. I'm very fortunate because I have a lot of options and a lot of things
That's a good thing.
that I could do. Will I continue in politics? Maybe. It just depends on what opportunities are there, what I think that I would be good at, and where I would best serve my community in whatever capacity. So I don't know at this point.
Okay. That's just an honest answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The door is always open, to come back, and hey, let's just talk and have a conversation. Tune in every Friday to Talking Tennessee with Yvonnca. I am here to inspire you. Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to Talkin' Tennessee with Yvonnca. Watch out for our weekly episodes from the first family of real estate. And check us out on the web, www.YvoncaSalesRealEstate.com. See our videos on Yvonca's YouTube channel or find us on Facebook under Yvonnca Landes and Twitter at Yvonnca Landes. And don't forget to tell a friend about us. Until next time, Yvonnca signing off.